Yes, 17 attack in 22 lines. That's sad. That's so sad. So
yeah, we talk about APP, but Wylie is showing us what attack per line is.
yeah,
and,
attack per line.
Sub 1 attack per line is impressive.
0.25 basically. So here we go. Tizago on the left, Dark Shadow on the right, and we are off to those aforementioned races. Fairly standard gameplay here. 3-6 from both players. Pretty chill, pretty casual. We're seeing a couple of fancy moves over on Tizago's board, a couple of funky spins.
Yeah, and that's a nice fractal setup from Tizago there. Not able to find both of the T-spins, taking the eyepiece burn in the middle of that. Interesting. Both players with this full zone here. Both are probably going to try to want to stabilize their boards a little bit before they start.
Absolutely here, and Tizago just used a T-piece to create an overhang and then place one in their stack, which meant they weren't getting a T-piece for a while, and I think that kind of threw them. I think they felt like they were getting one a bit sooner than expected. Oh, Dark Shadow's board is not great. They've got half of a box, 2 parts of a box on the side of the board. They do open up their board a little bit, and I nearly said that they have curve potential, but that misdrop preemptively shuts that off.
Yeah, both players having similar zones. They're not as strong as both of them could have been, but it works out because they did it at the same time. And so we are here at this halfway point to phase 3.
Already halfway in a minute 23. These players are crazy.
Yeah, and both of these players are going to be prioritizing filling up that zone. We see both of them getting max zone at just about the same time. I'm wondering if they're going to want to stack for a little bit longer, get those scores a little bit higher so they can guarantee phase 3 with this next zone.
Yeah,
Dark Shadow zoning first. This is unlikely to hit phase 3. Tizago also kind of unlikely to hit phase 3. Interesting. We'll see if any of them do.
We have a 69. Nice.
Okay.
We are definitely into phase 3. That did more than I expected, actually.
Yep. Yeah, sometimes it's hard to predict the scores, especially with just
and that's round 1 instantly, cutting us both off mid-sentence.
Yeah. Expecting that. Yeah, Tizago with a little bit of a misdrop at the top of the board, but that was just Dark Shadow having the stronger zone into phase 3, and that was enough to take round 1.
Yeah, I just watched back the stream, and it was an L misdrop. Rather than being in columns 3, 4, and 5, it actually covered their column 2 well, and they couldn't take that Tetris, which that would have been a Tetris plus, 5 more attacks, so they accepted around 8 or 9 lines. That was the difference, and unfortunately, it ended the round for them. Meanwhile, Dark Shadow
just opened with a center 4 wide.
Yeah, that's very hard to make work. I'm very impressed that they made it work. But we have an all clear over on Tizago's board, and that's actually going to force Dark Shadow to zone. Wow, well done.
Yeah, that is the pressure that Tizago needs right now to take this round, and they're forever stacking. They are going for the 22 and Possibilitress right here.
Oh, for sure. They have the setup. No way!
They have the flat stack right at the top, and they're trying to find the pieces they need. Does not find it. They were so close, though.
Oh, that would have been poetic, frankly. That would have been wonderful. Not freestyle, but showing that they have style, in fact. That was a wonderful little showcase of some skill there, using some forever stacking that, it makes me very happy and, frankly, feel seen. Love it.
Yes, and Tizago with another tall stack here. This is a lot of combo setups here. Not taking the full combo there, finding the down stack first, and Dark Shadow's forced to zone here.
Yeah, this is pretty close, frankly. No one really has a guaranteed advantage. Tizago maybe with a better board state going into this zone. That's a misdrop. What is happening? What are these like placements?
Yeah, and neither player going to put this into phase 3 just yet, so Dark Shadow will be able to accept some clean garbage here from Tizago's side, but Tizago's the one accepting garbage, actually, in this interaction. I
thought that's going to be more efficient, but it seems like, no, it was not. But right now, we are still on the very cusp of phase 3, and Dark Shadow zoning here. Maybe they can squeeze it out fast enough to catch Tizago off guard, but Tizago's a 3/4. They might want to zone on this T-spin. They do miss the phase 3 ding. It's gone.
But, yeah, Tizago is a fast player though, so I doubt that she's going to need the entire time for that zone, and that is the case here. She does not need that timer, and boom.
No, not at all. And that's
Garbage
a
on Dark
misdrop.
Shadow's board.
Oh, surviving that's going to be a tall
Oh,
order.
needed IRS there. I believe IRS would have saved that, right?
I think it was a misdrop with a combination of not having IRS ready. Whatever it was not great. I just noticed, if I may so indulge for a moment, thank you guys for 1,650 followers on the channel.
Wow.
Yeah, wow. Nearly 2/3 of the way to 2,000. Gee. So thank you guys for that. Thank you, Raf Aladdin. Just wanted to mention that. Thank you. Back to the game. Apologies. Back into the commentator aura. Dark Shadow here with an interesting downstack going right to the bottom of the board. It does push Tizago up to the point where they have to tank into row 22. And that's a 4-wide in phase 1. Dark Shadow, why are you typing in mid-game?
Yeah, thank you so much for typing in chat between your rounds, or during them, maybe. I wasn't paying enough attention. That was during, yeah, and so maybe that misdrop is karma, so they are fixing this pretty well. Yeah, still managing to misdrop, fix it, put garbage on Tizago's board, and type in chat at the same time. That is some talent right there.
Yeah, that is a true showcase of their confidence, I think. That is a true showcase of their skill, their prowess, and Tizago not being afraid to tank, but another tall order to survive this, and it might be on an even taller board.
Yeah, and that IRS there from Tizago is great, exactly what she needs to stay alive here.
Absolutely. Dark Shadow with 3 lines of secret grade in their garbage. I love to see it. I love to see when the RNG works out just right. And let's see if they can dig through it.
Is a strong zone, Dark Shadow will put this over into phase 3. We'll see just shy of it. So this garbage from Tizago is going to be cleaner, and their zone timer is going to be longer.
Yeah, no, that might actually change the outcome of the game. This might change who has the advantage. I would have pitted Dark Shadow to have the advantage here. Tizago with a 20-46, and absolutely it swung the outcome of the game. Dark Shadow being just short by less than 1,000 points has literally put them at the disadvantage. And this might be a round. That it is.
Yep. And that was a very back and forth round. A lot of blows exchanged there, but Tizago just had the right zone at the right time.
Absolutely, yeah. Absolutely. This is a great match. Can we just bring out the fact that this is round 4. We're only 2-1 in. I love games like this. We're having a lot more close matchups today compared to yesterday, and there's still so much to go.
Right, and this is what we predicted, to see those closer matchups, so it's nice to look like I actually know what I'm talking about and seeing that actually manifest.
Lyra, you know
always feels good. Always feels good.
We can always trust Lyra because let me tell you right now, she's one of the best commentators in the scene. And look at this. It just proves it right.
Kind of you, thank you. But we're focusing on the game, and Tizago misdropping at the top of the board.
See, look at her. She's pointing out things like, look at that. She's really.
Shut up. Yeah. I don't take this while live. I really don't. All right, so Dark Shadow starting this zone here first. Tizago working down a little bit on her board before she zones.
Fantastic. And look at, oh, wait. I thought that maybe there was something, but, that's a 21 on
that is a curve from Tizago there. Dark Shadow did not have any zone charge to counter that there. Is able to accept all of it. This is phase 2 garbage here. Is able to mitigate all of it, and you know who's not is Tizago.
Yeah, no, Tizago, despite having a curb, it wasn't strong. They didn't have the attack to back it up. That's the important thing with a curb. They're powerful and you get a big bonus of 46, but if you don't get the attack with it, then you'll have, well, you'll have a zone about on par with my Impossibilitress. Not great and won't be a game ender.
Both these players, interestingly, having very similar starts. That is Quite the stack in the middle of the board, Tizago. So if we're talking about early top-out deaths, fun fact, all of the pieces spawn in the middle 4 columns of the board.
Yeah.
And so if you start stacking in those middle 4 way higher than the other parts of your board, then you're much more likely to accidentally top out.
Yeah, even in the zone, like the zone can end with top out, block out, or the time running out. And that's one of those conditions that can just, doesn't matter if you zone or not.
Yeah, and Tizago, this zone here is a little bit awkward towards the top as they are trying to find the skims that they need to continue it, not quite finding it, and they're going to have to build that zone charge before Dark Shadow finishes his zone.
This is a really good zone, actually. They're not going to get that TP server, but the 40 and 13, that's incredible. And look, it does bring Tizago right to the top. They have an out, but it's yucky, and frankly, Dark Shadow stacking on an entire board is basically man-made.
I do want to point out that Tizago's survival there was completely because of IRS.
Really?
Whenever you see that well in the middle 2 columns of the board, doesn't matter how high the outsides are stacked up, you can spawn the eyepiece in those. And so...
Yes, making for not just center 4 wides, but center 2 wides a viability in this game. Tizago taking that round with an 89 versus 86 attack. 3.5 attack between the two. They're so closely matched, and the score finally showing that, unlike our previous matchups, which have been almost completely sweeps. I just love how close these games are. This is the kind of TEC I love to watch. And God, I'm such
and
a
this
nerd.
second bracket, I would expect that of it the whole time. And that Trinity fix on that awkwardness from the ST or the MS2, that is a great fix. Tizago is eyepiece dependent. Yep, and they're doing the same thing again. That's wild. I love that. That looked like it's almost a formulaic thing, but that was very organic right there. Tizago has definitely practiced that a little bit, but still, that was gorgeous.
And look at this!
The TS donation, hello?
The T-spin double with a T-spin triple kick, and they still die with a misdrop! No finesse, no sort of showmanship can save them from a misdrop. If you can't place your piece in the right spot, nothing will save you. Dark Shadow takes the round despite the absolute absurd aura coming off of Tizago. What was that
Tizago
round?
quite literally flying too close to the sun there, and Dark Shadow responds with a smiley face emote. Very non-BM of you to do. Great job. And so now we have our score tied at 3 here.
Oh, that round made me so happy. I've got a big dumb smile on my face. If you guys aren't giddy after watching that, I'm lost for words. That was beautiful. Tizago taking a Tetris here, cleaning up their board. Dark Shadow with a really low stack here, but that's phase 3 for you. You'll go up and down all the time. Tizago hitting zone first as well. Fairly clean board, setting up a Kaiden. Pretty efficient.
Yeah, and I'm assuming Dark Shadow is, starting the zone here, setting up a dono over there well, and this is going to be a pretty efficient start for Dark Shadow here. Yeah,
meanwhile, we see a 57 ulti. That's a little more efficient there from Tizago. Definitely getting a bit more bang for their buck there. And Dark Shadow going for a 21, but only finds a 19. 56, even more efficient than Tizago, which is why Tizago is forced to tank about a Tetris worth of garbage. In fact, that
is an awkward board state as she does greed for the T-spin. I do like the fix out of this, but not able to find that S or Z spin into that nice little shape because she does have to defend here. And okay, this is some nice stacking to get out of it.
That was some great awareness of the kick table and its quirks, placing that T piece upright to create the kick needed to spin that S piece into place.
And Dark Shadow does bring this over the Mark IV Phase 3, not bothering to use that full zone that they had and instead pressuring Tizago and saving the full zone until now.
Yeah, this round will determine who has the lead going into what is essentially a first to 4 as well. We're getting closer to the end here. This matchup has been wonderful, but someone needs to win, and Tizago is looking a bit worse for wear here.
Yeah, and Dark Shadow was not able to find the Tetris they wanted at the top of the board there to end that zone, and so that might be the saving grace that Tizago needs right now. And that brings it back to even.
Yeah, we're basically neutralized here. Phase 3 garbage, you can handle it in a couple of rows, although Dark Shadow sending off more than a couple of rows there. Yeah, Tizago is being slowly but surely forced to accept things, and Dark Shadow is basically 7-2 here. This is really clean from them.
Yeah, and this is a perfect board state in this phase 3 here, just spamming T-spins, being able to find that efficiency without needing to accept anything so far.
Yeah, the difference here is that Dark Shadow's board is almost entirely just them, but Tizago's having to improvise and make the garbage work. This is why phase 3 is so deadly as well, because you have to use what you're given. You have to. If you tank it, you have to use it, and it is just a mess.
Dark Shadow setting up a 4-wide here into this zone, breaking combo partway through, but I still expect this to be a pretty strong zone.
Yeah, 35 and 14, not too bad. Tizago, though, quickly sprinting out lines. Maybe this will be a turning point for them. They can only hope. And yeah, clearing a lot of lines here. That's a 30 and 16. Not quite the 35 in 14 that the Dark Shadow got, but fairly comparable, putting things back at basically neutral. At 3.
Right, and Dark Shadow had a misdrop there that is part of what caused that to go back to neutral, because they were trying to pressure there, and they would have been able to put a little bit onto Tizago's board had they not misdropped, but that was able to turn the tides in Tizago's favor.
Yeah, I think we say this all the time whenever we're commentating, but TEC is a game where you really feel that push and pull. Every player has to work so hard to gain any sort of advantage, but then when you misdrop, the player that you're against will take that and run with it. You cannot make a mistake anywhere. Phase 3 is just so dangerous.
Yeah, and Dark Shadow not hesitating at all in setting this up, and a misdrop at the top of the board, finding the speed that they need. All of a sudden, this is a nice little burst from Dark Shadow's side of the board. Tizago downstacking, combo downstacking, beautiful downstack to handle that. Amazingly handled from Tizago's side of the board.
That was really good. I didn't even see it happening. It just started. I was too busy watching Dark Shadow because they had a pretty hazardous misdrop there, but they cleaned it up fairly well. And 25 and 14, not great. They did get a 35 earlier with the same amount of lines, so not nearly as efficient as they're capable of. But Tizago sprinting out some T-spins there, and this is a really clean zone. They have a full garbage queue, but it's a 20.
The ulti sub there is insane.
Dark Shadow has
Tizago,
one tank.
She had a misdrop in that zone that made me think that it wasn't going to be what she needed, but finding the couple extra drops for the ulti solve is insane here, but slows down a little bit. That allows Dark Shadow to live.
Yeah, Dark Shadow managed to find a 16 attack zone, just 8 lines, but it managed to cancel everything. The thing was that while Tizago's zone was fantastic and fast, Dark Shadow had done so much work prior to that they only had like about 19 or 18 lines in the garbage queue. They canceled it all in 1 quarter zone, and we are back to neutral at 5 minutes.
Yeah, and we do see Dark Shadow with this zone starting off here. A little bit of just a downstack combo zone. Not exactly using the full board, but that's okay. Woo! Oh, no. Well, yeah, okay. Well, Tizago just used the time to set up a Trinity and then has to use a T-piece to burn the Trinity and then is forced to just take none of it.
Yeah, no, Tizago, unfortunately, they had a great setup, but couldn't execute in time, had a misdrop, and then Dark Shadow obviously punishing that. They're not going to let them get away with that for long. That's another misdrop with the Mino covering. Thank God that T-piece came in time.
Yeah. That was a very nice fix there from Tizago. Definitely looking at the queue and seeing what she was able to do in this situation. Dark Shadow setting up a side ties here, trying to put in this killing blow with this zone and breaks combo.
Though. Yeah, no, it's not going to be nearly as efficient. It's going to be purely based on lines here. And yeah, only 18 attack in 11. Not great. That definitely gives Tizago an advantage here. If they can clean up their board, because what is that, then they should be able to walk away with a slight advantage. We are at 6.5 minutes. This is one hell of a round, a marathon that they're having to run right now to just take a single round off the other person.
Right, both players are in a situation where if they're able to make a giant play, then that will end the round, and both have tried multiple times, but neither have found that success just yet.
Yeah, and we are basically back to neutral. I say that right as Tizago really puts their foot on the pedal here, pushing down the gas and saying, nope, that's enough. I want to take this round, and I'm going to bloody take it from your cold, dead hands.
All right, Tizago here probably wanted an STSD from that, did not find it, but Dark Shadow is going to be zoning here. A little bit of efficiency. This might just end up back at even.
We're back at even at 7 minutes. What's happening? Who's going to win this? It's going to take moving a mountain to make this happen. And that's 18 attack. We are trading quarter zones at this point. The players
a good quarter zone from Tizago, but Dark Shadow anticipates the strength.
Neutralize it.
Misdrops.
We're seeing more and more misdrops. These players are really starting to fatigue. We are coming down to the wire. Dark Shadow at the top of the board now.
Yeah, this is where your hands just really start to hurt, speaking from experience. And Tizago does have another combo in this zone here. That's a very strong combo.
25. If Dark Shadow gets the lines, we're going to be back to neutral again. They have a half zone, so 5 seconds compared to Tizago's 2.5, and they clear 9. We are basically back to neutral at 8 minutes. What's going on?
Yeah, but Tizago's starting this up stack here. They start the zone. They want to end this right here, and they know they can.
That was a big zone for them. This could actually be it. No T-pieces inside. I think we're at the end of the game. The top of the board is, again, I use the word hazardous because it's the best way to describe it. And despite having the quarter zone, Dark Shadow tops out. Tizago takes the 8-minute marathon of a round. 82 attack versus 82.1. Stats basically identical. That was one of the greatest rounds I've seen in weeks.
And I'm sure both of these players are just shaking out their hands right now because that's all I would be doing in this situation. But unfortunately, they have to start another round.
Yeah, can you imagine the strain that takes on the toll it takes on the players? To the fatigue you experience. You and I can both say from experience how exhausting it is to play one single round, non-stop, no breaks, having your mind working actively for 8 minutes straight. It's grueling. It's grueling.
Yeah, and these players are familiar with that. I do remember one time I played Tizago while she was on 2 nerf, and it was supposed to be a 1st to 3, but after a 12-minute round in there, I just said, no, thank you, this is a 1st to 2, and ended it after that. And so I've definitely seen them go the distance with those rounds before, and they have the experience, but it's never easy.
There's one thing a TSC player will never do, and that's give up a round that goes to phase 3. We will work, we will move heaven and earth to make it happen, and this could be a quicker round than the last. Nope, there's an out. Tizago, good work cleaning that up, and actually a really good out, yeah.
Yeah, really good out. A little bit of greed there that pays off well for her here. She does have this full zone, was not forced to use any of it. Up at the top of the board, definitely trying to find a slightly better board state before hitting that button. And speaking of board state, Dark Shadows is not great.
No, that was quite a rough zone there. Tizago looking for a 21. I think they have it. No, they're impossible. What is that? They just sold a 19 on row 21. I don't even know what's happening.
Dark Shadow is lucky to get this quarter zone here, but will it be enough to keep them alive? Not quite. And that is going to be a quick round in Tizago's favor as they do take the 2-point lead here.
Yeah, despite having the lesser attack here and the lesser drops and the lesser zone, Tizago seems to take that round out of nowhere, slightly creeping ahead, just catching them off guard. You can play incredibly well like Dark Shadow is doing, but one misdrop and your opponent seeing that can be it. You have to play perfect.
Right, and another reminder that this is a 7 versus 2 matchup, and Tizago is the 7 seed, so we are 2 rounds away from seeing our first upset so far in the Galactic League TEC bracket.
Oh, I didn't even think of that. That would be our first upset. That's very exciting. Dark Shadow, though, is not out of it just yet. They are going to want to work for this. I can imagine that SB has predicted in chat that maybe they have comms open. Like they're chatting to each other while they play, and Tizago finding a 45 there. Look at that Q incoming. That is one big chunk at the end of the zone from Tizago on Dark Shadow's board. And that's a 4 wide. Dark Shadow, how are you typing while... Is someone typing for you?
Yeah, like what?
Tizago undefeated though. I'm basically Mike Tyson in the Jake Paul fight. What is this matchup? What is going on?
Yeah, I wish I could tell you. I really wish I could, but both of these players definitely trying to pull things out of their bag of tricks as we are getting towards that 60,000 point mark. Both of these players definitely trying to build up.
That skim. Did you see that skim from
Tizago?
That
was interesting. All right, Tizago not going to be able to find phase 3 with this zone, but if she's able to find enough damage, this could force Dark Shadow to use this full zone here.
Yeah, and I think we don't, unfortunately. We have a 19 from Tizago. Whoa,
that's perfect. No, this is a perfect situation to be in. Yeah, no, this is where you want to be right now. If you're Dark Shadow, this just worked out so well in his favor, and not finding the IRS to continue the zone doesn't push it over into phase 3, and that means Tizago accepts clean garbage.
Oh my god, we mentioned earlier the idea of tanking a lot of garbage right before phase 3 can actually be like a big game changer, and it's happened twice in the same round here. We don't see a phase 2 last minute zone from Tizago there. We thought they might have taken the quarter, but they decided to play it out. Maybe they want to get to that full meter and try and take advantage, rely on their skill set in phase 3, and it doesn't matter. They top out, Dark Shadow clawing back another round, bringing it back closer to tie, closer to that 7.
Yeah, and I was about to say that Dark Shadow's lack of IRS could potentially cost them that round, but they were able to find the win regardless.
I want to point out that both players have nearly identical attack almost every round. They are so closely matched. Like we said, this 2-7 seed, not represented at all, not representative of how good these two players are, how
Think
close
about the
they
fact that these two matchups are predicted just based on seed to be the least close matchups today.
Yeah. Anything short of that 8-1 that we had, like, oh.
Yeah. So you can look forward to some more exciting matches if you continue to stay after this ad break that just started. Sorry.
I disabled it. There's pre-rolls on right now. We're running an ad break after this.
Okay, cool.
Yep. You're such a good mod. What is this?
Dark Shadow starting the zone here.
And that's nearly a... Oh no! Dark Shadow's IRS is not quite up to par as it usually would be. Tizago, though, the impossibilitrous queen, tries to find... They find a 19 and 40 and 19, sorry. How dare I?
How dare you?
How dare I? And yeah, fairly standard gameplay here. We have 3-6 versus 9-0, which Tizago's been forced into based on that garbage.
Yeah, Dark Shadow being able to find this efficiency into this T-spin, starting a 3/4 zone here, but I doubt they're going to need the entire zone timer here. Going to take a fast zone. There's the ad break.
Good lord.
I watched you snooze it like 3 times.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'll have to run a big one after this match. Either way, we vibe, we move on. It's only 30 seconds. We'll be saying welcome back to everyone very, very soon.
All right, and that is our phase 3 ding right there. I don't have audio on the gameplay, but I recognize phase 3 by a little strobe in the background of this game.
See, I don't have. I don't really look. I'm not trained.
Oh, there's a strobe. That's how. Oh no, and a misdrop from Tizago. Yeah, that's the only way I know it's phase 3.
Yeah, no, I use the sound cues. I do know about the strobe, but I'm not actively looking for it. I just sort of catch it after the fact. In the meantime, Tizago at the top of the board here on the ropes. If they lose this round, we'll be back to a tie right now. They have a great T-spin there. They take that very last minute. And they have max zone, but you can't really activate the zone this high up. You want to take advantage of the full time.
You can if you're given a minute while your opponent is zoning to downstack.
Yeah, I'm not sure why they zoned there, because that gave them one heck of a downstack to enter the zone into. And there's maybe 30 attack in the queue right now, pending. And look at the line clears coming in, 14, 15, 16. Neutralizing everything.
So I do want to point out that Tizago started that zone with a misdrop, so it wasn't exactly what she was hoping for there, but it is enough to keep this alive. Definitely not in Tizago's favor right now, but she knows she has the ability to bring it back to that state.
Yeah, generally speaking, like 5 to 10 rows of phase 3 is okay. Currently, Tizago has 7 lines of phase 3 on their board. They're digging it right down, though, in a massive down stack. That was a beautiful dig.
Yeah, and Dark Shadow's just trying to put on the pressure here, probably trying to set up their board for this full zone that they have locked, loaded, and ready to go. But Tizago also has full zone, so I would assume both players are doing the same thing and searching for that phase 3 zone here. And we have Dark Shadow starting the zone first. Tizago following it up with some nice efficiency. A T-spin 0 taken in there, which is not great. But if she has a high zone clear here, like she had earlier, this can end the round.
Absolutely, yeah. Absolutely. A 42, though. Not that strong, really. It's actually put to Dark Shadow in a pretty, may I say, precarious position. Not great. Although, look at this combo. Beautiful.
Yeah, but Tizago does set up an STSD into a 4 wide
no,
here.
A 3 wide.
Yeah, it works.
No, a 4 wide? I'm losing track of how many rows they're trying to dance around.
It's difficult to tell anyways, but Dark Shadow has a lot of that combo garbage to work through here. Finds the quarter zone on the first line clear outside of the zone, and they are going to need to use that here.
And they get a color clear here.
If they can find it. Okay,
they can. Yep, they get the spin. They had a down stack prior to that really helped as well. That was clean. And they zone here, fairly clean. And Tizago is counter zoning here. They take a T-spin 0 in the middle, but good lord, is this efficient?
Yes, this is definitely an offensive zone from Tizago here. Again, looking to end the round, and that is a very nice ulti solve. Dark Shadow has a giant garbage queue and only a quarter zone to tank it. I would think that this is going in Tizago's favor right now.
Yes, they have one last big chunk to tank, and that is it. 6-4. We are at match point. Dark Shadow's gonna need to win 3 rounds in a row, and look how close their stats are! Nearly identical. You could swap them and you wouldn't know.
Yeah, and Tizago is 1 round away from taking our first upset here, as we mentioned earlier, starting off with an MS2 on one side and a center 4 wide on the other.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Really clean. Really, really clean.
Yeah, it's interesting trying to see what Tizago does with their openers because she's clearly very used to the MS2 and the follow-ups that come from it. So I'm always looking over to that side to see if there's going to be anything creative going on.
Absolutely, yeah. The funny thing is, like, these two players have played each other so much in ranked, so much. Yeah, that misdropped S there on Dark Shadow's board is not great for their fractal, but could lead into a T. Yep, there we go. And they actually have a really good board for 2 T-spins. They want to take that. Yep, they're going to go for it. Beautiful. Yeah, no, the thing with these guys, they play so much in ranked is that they're used to any opener that can be thrown at either one of them. It's really like just who plays better, I think, in that end game. Whoever plays better in their phase 3, which is where we've seen it going so many times. We had that legendary 8-minute, like 20-second round. Beautiful. And Dark Shadow trying an eye kick. I believe that's the 5th kick in the eyepieces kick table. Beautiful.
I like, you sound like you're talking about music when you talk about like the 5th kick and the like.
Ah, yes, the drum kick.
No, I'm talking about like a 5th, like a chord or like a harmony or something.
Oh, yes. I know what you mean.
Yeah, I know music.
Yeah, you know music.
I do.
You diploma, don't you?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, not in music like you do though.
I'm a nerd. I'm just a nerd.
I'm just saying that I know some of your terminology.
Oh my god, no way. No way they do it. No way. They have the perfect board. No, they don't get the job.
No, not quite. Finding the 22 solve that she was going for there, but still enough to keep this competitive.
That would have been amazing. The thing with the 22 is that it usually results in a really, really powerful 2-wide combo. You're guaranteed to get at least a 10 combo with the bonus of an impossibilitress. That's why they're so deadly. And Tizago wants a piece of that. They want the glory of saying, I did it in a tournament. I did it in a damn tournament. Great eye kick there from Tizago.
Yeah, and both players pushing this close to that 60,000 point mark. Tizago bringing it over before hitting this zone, but I doubt that they're going to need the time that they would have gotten otherwise if they hadn't hit that zone button after the 60,000.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
48 and 18. 48 and 18, not bad.
Yeah, and Tizago with the advantage here. Let's see if she's able to capitalize on this right here. Definitely looking to with this setup. Oh, interesting. That would have preserved back-to-back in Tetrio. That's why she did that like that.
Ah, a bit of habitual stuff coming over from the...
Yeah, I was wondering, because you can just toss the Z piece in there directly to get the TSD. Whatever. Dark Shadow finding the round because Tizago got too greedy and misdropped in the middle of the board.
And again, their stats are just so close, except for zone APM. Tizago, that was pretty efficient.
Another MS2 from Tizago, but she misdrops that S piece.
Yeah, Dark Shadow needs to win 3 in a row. He has taken one of them, and this opener at the start of Tizago's game does not exactly bode well for them.
Yeah, she does have quarter zone here. Covers her well, which is razor thin. Okay, that is a razor thin fix on that right there. Has 3/4 zone, is just barely able to find the down stack so that she does not need to zone here. All right, Tizago using that zone now. Dark Shadow, I would also assume, is going to start that zone soon. Yep, and we're off.
Yeah, really clean. And this is a great board from Dark Shadow. Both players at the top of the board here. Dark ends first, and there was, I believe, a 20 there, but it was not found. It was not found indeed. And now both players mid Phase 2, looking to get to Phase 3 as soon as they can, where they know it's going to really come down to... These matches, so often with these two players, come down to a brilliant Phase 3 showdown.
Right, and Tizago is Dark Shadow's in the driver's seat right now with the score being more in their favor. They are the one who's going to choose when to put this into Phase 3, though Tizago did try to pressure them and force them to zone early.
Yeah, and here we go with another zone from Tizago. Pretty interesting decision making. I think they were considering maybe doing something a bit fancy.
Okay. No, yeah. I like this. I like this.
Yeah, good. 52 in 19. Meanwhile, Dark Shadow's going to need to match that. That's a really powerful zone.
Yeah, not quite matching it.
Remember, this is going to be game if Dark Shadow doesn't take this round. So this game is relying on survival here for Dark Shadow.
Yeah, and they're just at the top. I don't know if they're going to be able to get the efficiency they need in this quarter zone to mitigate this garbage queue, as Tizago is just trying to lay on the pressure here.
And I think it's working, frankly. They are doing exactly what they need to take this game. Dark Shadow finding one heck of a setup there, but is it enough? I don't know. They have another down stack. They need to get to that Z to cleanly keep going with this down stack, but there's like 6 lines of attack in the queue.
Yeah, Tizago doing the T-Waste STSD, but has both of the T pieces. Using this zone here is bold because it gives Dark Shadow a little bit of time. Now they have a half zone instead of the quarter zone that they would have had Tizago not zoned.
They are gambling on their speed here to be enough to be able to get a zone quick enough to catch Dark Shadow off guard, to basically zone fast enough without, Dark Shadow having recovered, which, I don't know, I think it might have worked.
Yeah, I definitely think that Tizago was just trying to seal the kill here with that zone, and so far has done so. They have another STSD ready to go.
And we're back
Dark Shadow's alive.
We're back to where we were about a minute ago. Yeah. Wow. That's the thing, like, when you go for that full zone, when your opponent is near dead, you're sacrificing the pressure you've been giving in return for potentially trying to get that killing blow. But if you're not quick enough and efficient enough and give your opponent enough time to build up their zone and get down low enough to use it effectively, it's not going to work and you reset the game. You lose your lead. You gamble. You need to gamble on your own skill set.
Right, and players at this level are recognizing that when they have that opportunity, they do everything they can to take advantage of it.
Absolutely, and Tizago here with a full zone, but immediately starting it with a misdrop as we've seen them do so many times. A 25, not great. Dark Shadow taking the majority of it and retaining their half zone, not having to use it quite yet. Also, with a fantastic down stack, that Iron drop could seal the game. They needed to hold on to that eyepiece, and I think that's our game. Yep, with that single misdrop, Dark Shadow not holding down that button for about 50 milliseconds ends the game. And that's it. 7-5, another 7-5.
Yeah, and like I said, that is our first upset in this Galactic bracket, in either of the 2 brackets that we have going right now, and a very exciting match, definitely longer than our previous matchups.
Absolutely. I loved watching that. Those players were so closely matched. They both should be very proud of how they did. We had some flashy plays from Tizago. We had a couple of 22 attempts. Dark Shadow with, I think, a 15 combo at one point, or a 14 combo. Beautiful. Some really good survival. And I think that round demonstrated immaculately the zone dynamic and how it works, and how you have to sometimes gamble in that phase 3 on your own skill set and hope that you can be quick enough and fast enough that your opponent doesn't recover in that time. Great match. Great match.